Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Friday stream. Sanders does something that might be uncomfortable. Woo! Woo! Um, Today I will be. I'll get to how. I'll talk about how we got here. I'm not sure how we got here, but we're here now. Reading and rating spicy quotes from Fourth Wing by the author whose name I should probably know. Rebecca Yarros. Ha! Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, a fantasy romance novel that somehow I ended up reading. And one thing led to another, and now we're going to go through those quotes. We're going to read them. We're going to rank them, and we are going to see how many I can actually finish in a reasonable. I bet there's 23. There's 23 of these quotes. I suspect I'll get through 10 before I tap out and just be like, whew, whew, whew. This is too high on the Scoville scale for me. I'm just going to tap out of this, call it good, and say, you know what? This was entertaining. We had a good time. We had a laugh. We chortled. We learned things about ourselves. And then we decided, maybe do it again. Or maybe this is great. Maybe we all have a good time. We enjoy ourselves. And then when I start reading Iron Oath, probably tonight after the stream, I'll know whether or not I need to gather spicy quotes from there, because I heard this one gets a bit spicier. Some caveat on the stream going forward, which I realize I need to go do. This is 18 plus. I think all my streams are labeled 18 plus just because, let's be serious myself. There will be spoilers. The music is loud compared to music. Oh, the music is kind of loud. Thank you. Okay, tell me a second. Yeah, I think I switched out all the audio at one point and I didn't rebalance. Thank you. I do appreciate being told when the audio needs to be rebalanced. Hopefully that is a little bit better. Let's see, how do I pin a message is what I want to look at here. Spoilers for Fourth Wing. Just got to pin a message. 1 second. Now, YouTube, tell me how to pin a message. Pin message. Look at that. Pinned a message. Oh God, I'm like, oh, who said that in my chat? I'm like, that's me. That's my name showing up. The thing that always gets me is names are 3 colors. In YouTube, names are 1 color. In OBS, it's 1 color, and then on screen, it's a 3rd color. It really throws me off a little bit. Just throws me off a touch there. So let's move to the rating screen here and see how this looks. So we're trying something new. I've never done a tier list before, and I looked up a bunch of different ways on how to make them and organize them and get them all set up. And in the end, I decided, I'm not going to use a tier list maker. I'm just going to make my own tier list in a design program and manually drag boxes around. Because for some reason, that seemed like a better idea. It seemed like a better idea. Let's go over there. This is the danger because it's, oh, no, it's just full screen app. Okay. Bam. Oh, I'm stuck behind my overlay. Oh, what tragedy. What tragedy. There I am. And then chat is here. There's chat. Ha. Worked out. Let me get myself in the corner. Put myself in the corner here. Give me a second. There's no audio right now. So let us start the audio stream. There we go. Oh, there we go. I found a different quality of music to fit this a little bit better. It is surprisingly not hard. If you're looking for copyright-free music that's not lo-fi background type music, it's a little bit harder out there. So today, here's my rating scale of these spicy quotes that will start in we're going to start right away. So why are we here? Why are we here? How did we end up here? The journey began months ago when someone half-jokingly recommended somebody else, oh, at least my mouse, to read Fourth Wing, which is a fantasy romance novel that was apparently really popular. It came out like 2023. And I paid it a little, I kind of half-joking, like, what if I read it as a wholesome say-so fox boy? I put a hold in the library. Didn't think of anything. It didn't. I'm like, okay, I put a hold in the library. I'm like, I was position of like 250 on like 30 copies. So it's gonna take a while. So a couple months pass. Book comes up. I check it out, and as I start reading it, it's like someone joking like, "Oh, what if you read the spicy quotes in like Discord chat or like in a car ride or something?" And that evolved into like, "Oh, what if I just stream? What if I just stream myself reading all the spicy quotes and then rating them and then ranking them, and then we're here. We're here today. We're here today with this carefully crafted, hand-tooled, bespoke tier list format." And we'll see how this goes. Let's see my mouse. For some reason, I'm kind of mildly embarrassed that you can see my mouse. Kind of an embarrassing thing for some reason. So how this will work is I have a list here. Okay, gotta make sure tabbing out doesn't break the screen sharing. So we're gonna tab out. I have a list of 23 quotes. For each quote, I've assigned them, very brave, very much so. I assigned each quote a label. I'm not going to show the quotes on screen because of a lot of text. Then make like slides and put them on the screen. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I'm not going to do that. So instead, I gave each quote a word to signify what quote it was. And then once I read the quote, I'll come over to my side here, and then I'll take I have the little cards, and I'll be like, oh, this quote that I labeled tree is Winky Spice. And then we'll go through and we'll rate all the quotes. And if anyone needs a quote reread at any point, depending on the quote, just say which one you want. Like, oh, which one was kindling? And then we can go back through and read those again. Now, I will be a strong caveat. These quotes have been filtered a teensy bit of filtering. There was once I had them all laid out and like back to back in a document. I was going through. Thank you for following. Always gonna get additional followers. I realized a lot of these quotes are really similar. And I should point out. Well, I don't really read romance novels. I don't really read fantasy romance novels. I enjoyed Fourth Wing. I thought it was fun. I thought it was an easy read. I binged it in like 2.5 days, which to me is like, if I binge read a book, that's usually a sign that I'm enjoying it. I just, for some reason, for the life of me, I don't know why, I forget that I enjoy fantasy books set in like magical schools with dragons. Like, why do I forget this? This is like a key part of my identity. Growing up reading like Forgotten Realms and, all those sorts of older fantasy novels into modern day fantasy reading, fantasy books, which has really evolved and really they've gotten a lot better, a lot more diverse, a lot more varied. And as a reader, I greatly appreciate it. But it's one of those hobbies where I sometimes forget that I enjoy reading fantasy books and I go read manga or go read sci-fi or don't read at all. And then I come back and like, oh, all my favorite authors in the interim, like 8 months, not all of them. Some of my favorite authors have published new books and I can go back and like, rude. Typecast. I was typecast by Baldur's Cake. Like, oh, they have a new book published. Oh, and it's great because I tend to forget. I think reading A Wheel of Time really taught me from a young age to forget about my favorite book series and to be delightfully surprised when a new one comes out in like 2 to 3 years. For example, the new Stormlight Archive book is coming out in like November. That snuck up on me. Granted, that's Brandon Sanderson. It's kind of an exception to it all. So, Fourth Wing, I will say, I enjoyed it. I put a hold on the second book immediately upon finishing the first one. I'm happy to see the third one got finished as of like yesterday, I believe. I think it's called Iron Wing. Is the third one? That one got finished. So I'm excited that I won't have to wait too long to get the trilogy closing out. But that said, I'm not used to I went into this and I'm like, I've read spicy bits. I've read explicit parts of fantasy novels before. Like, I've read some books. And I was feeling that I was feeling pretty confident with myself about 2/3 of the way through this book. And I was like, I got this. There's some spicy like gazes, longing gazes over here, some light hand holding over there. And then I had like 2/3 and just like, it went from 0 to 60. And all of a sudden I was just like, woof, woof. I'm not sure I should be allowed to, am I old enough to read this? And to that end, we're gonna start by rating myself on the spiciness scale. I'm down here. I'm here on the spice scale. I'm just putting myself right there. I think it's very important for context. Like maybe like part of me wants to be like, oh no. I'm at winky face. I'm like a light innocent flirt is kind of fun. No, down here. We're down here. Like I 4 to 5 and no. I thought it was a trilogy. Don't do this to me. Well, on the plus side, first one came out 2023, so they're coming out at a pretty good clip. I could wait a year. That's fine. A lot of fantasy books. I used to, for a while there, I lived a life of like, I'm not going to start any new fantasy book or any new series until it's done. Thank you, George R. R. Martin and Robert Jordan. Then I learned instead, the best way to do, start like 24 book series, and you'll then delightful surprise as one new one comes out every month. You just have to remember what you're reading or where you are. In fact, I'm going to say, quick shout out, I appreciate authors who have like a 1/2 chapter at the start being like, here's what happened in the previous two books. We're not going to have the characters fake in situ say like, oh, do you remember that thing we did yesterday? I think Mark Lawrence does that, and I always appreciate it. I always appreciate it coming back like, here is the important bits and details you needed from the previous books, but we today are not going to have my characters weirdly talk about it. So then we've rated myself. Let's have a drink of this IPA here. It's going to power me through this. Whew. All right, so we get the first quote. Now, here's a question for the audience. I can go in the order that I snipped them from the book, which will end up being chronological order, or I could try to randomize them a bit. No, I take that back. I just did a quick scroll down at the bottom there. We are not randomizing this because that's going to be a spicy start if I start at the bottom. All right. Whew. Gosh. All right, we're going to start. We're going to start with where the book started. Now, the question I have for myself, that I'm not sure is, turn this down. Also, the volume of the music. The musics are like, it's going to be 2 different playlists. So if the music jumps in volume, do let me know. I just finished playing Dungeons and Hinterberg, where I was doing accents and character voices for all the characters. But I'll hydrate. I have a height. IPAs are there for hydration. That's what they're there for. It's a known fact. So we're gonna start the first one. The first one we're gonna. Oh, you know what I'll do? I'll just drag the quote over. First one. This one's titled "Windblown." We're gonna probably put it in the middle here. God, I'm not sure if I want to do like a Violet voice for this because it's all said in Violet's voice. No, we're gonna. Well, we'll see how things go. He's tall, with wind-blown black hair and dark brows. The line of his jaw is strong and covered by warm, tawny skin and dark stubble. And when he folds his arms across his torso, the muscles in his chest and arms ripple, moving in a way that makes me swallow. It's windblown. I'm giving that. That is definitely like that's not spicy, but it's a good warm up. It's a good warm up. Easy, no question asked. This is like, I think when I read this paragraph, I stopped reading, and I went to like Discord, and I'm like, oh, scroll down. I went, is this an enemies to lover story? And we just met the enemy right away. You could see mile away on this one. Rest in peace, childhood friend who's kind of a tool. Rest in peace. Ooh, how many IPAs? Ooh. See, I haven't practiced the Violet voice. Good evening. I'm not sure what the Violet voice actually would be. I kind of just like realized as I was talking that that's what might help. Okay, let me try a Violet voice. It's gonna be like probably just a softer voice. I'm not gonna go up in pitch because going up in pitch is hard, and I'm not a trained voice actor. You want the sandwich voice? Okay, fine. We'll say sandwich. We got one vote. We got one vote from Twitch coming in. All right, next one. Next one's a short one. It's a short one. We're gonna call this one Tree. Oh, gosh. Make sure I lose my place. And I'll see if I like the longer quotes or shorter quotes better as we go along. Tree. Not that I wouldn't climb the man like a tree if presented with the right set of circumstances. Low spice. Little bit spice. Climbing a man like a tree, a little bit of spice. But you know, in comparison to what I know is coming up, that's a low spice. That's a low spice. We're gonna start low, and it's gonna be a slow. Nope, it's not a slow burn. What is Fourth Wing? Fourth Wing is a fantasy romance novel by the author whose name I said once and I already forgot. Rebecca Yarros. Ha. I should just have this written down in front of me. And so I'm going and rating and ranking the spiciness of a bunch of quotes that I pulled from the book whilst reading the book. And there are some quotes that did not make this cut because as I was reading it, I read it in the book and I'm like, there is no way I can say that. There's no way I can say that in person. There's no way I can say that on stream. There's no way I can type these words out. I'm down here. I'm down here. There's some things like this top level spice content. It's gonna be tough for me to get there. We'll see if we do. All right. This one is, we're seeing order. This one's called Corset. Look at this thing. I'm at 3. This is gonna be tough. I gotta sit up. Again, a pro gamer pose here in my chair. His fingers skim my bare skin, and I suppress a shiver, locking my muscles so I wouldn't arch into his touch. What the hell's wrong with me? There's still blood on my floor, and yet my breaths are tight for the entirely wrong reasons, as he makes quick work of the laces, starting at the bottom. He wasn't lying. He absolutely knows his ways around a corset. I think. Oh, man. Yeah, Fourth Wing is about a magical school to train dragon riders that just has some very spicy parts. Quite spicy. I know. I'm tempted. You know what? We'll put the winky face. We'll put that a winky face. I had a mild pause as I pre-read what I was about to read, and I'm like, whew. Pre-read there's a corset's getting unlaced. Winky face. Winky face spice. Oh, okay. Ooh. Okay, kindling. God, 4 in. I predicted 10. I said 10 is when I'm going to hit my limit. I wasn't wrong. Okay. Kindling. It's okay. I will say before I read this quote, it is funny. The first half the book, you're like, this is a young adult novel aimed at teenagers, and then it hits these very not exceeding. I don't have context to say exceeding. I don't read much romance novels, but for someone who's not used to it, a fairly explicit scenes between the characters, they kind of jump scare you a little bit. I will admit, I'm going to 100% admit to everyone here, there was a moment there in one of those chapters where I'm just like, she's about to have sex with that dragon. That's what's coming up. I sense it. That's where this book is going. I was misled from the beginning. Fortunately, fortunately is a strong word. It didn't go that direction. No one was having any sort of attraction to dragons, but there was a moment where I was like, I could see it going that way. And I committed to this bit. And this book took me there. I'd be taking us all there today. I'd be taking us to those dragon scenes. In retrospect, you know what? All the quotes I have here, everything I pulled out, in that context are fine. They're fine. It's in between, maybe book 2. I heard book 2 get spicier, so maybe book 2. We'll see with book 2. All right, now we're reading kindling. Quote 4. The inches between us feel like kindling, ready to burn at the first suggestion of heat. and I'm a living, breathing flame. This is everything I should run from, and yet denying the primal attraction I feel is completely, utterly impossible. That's fine. That one, easy, no spice. That is like a mild salsa you get from Safeway. But really, I have these in here because hey, quotes we like and spiciness don't go hand in hand. It's not a one-to-one linear scale. I will say my initial thoughts of this was to not do a straight ranking, but make a graph and have spiciness on one axis and then book specificity on the other. Like, is this spicy in a standalone context, or is this spicy in the context of the 2 characters we know about, or 3 characters, or 4? I chose not to do that because not everyone likes graphs. I've learned through my life, arduous lesson, terribly learned. Oh man, here we go. We're cranking. Oh. How much does IPA had? I'm still my first one. Okay, speed this up. Called Invitation. This moment like these, I should have had a flushed expression. Invitation. He tunnels a hand through my hair, cradling the back of my head, angling me for a deeper kiss, and my lips part eagerly. He takes the invitations, sliding his tongue along mine with expert teasing strokes that have me clutching at his chest, fisting the material of his shirt to pull him closer as desire dances up and down my spine. Let me think about this one. That's a winky. I'm putting out a winky. That's a winky. It's got some promise. A lot of promise there, but not in the content of the quote. That's a winky face. Just going in for a kiss. That's all she's doing. Nothing spicy, light spice about that. This is like, I almost want to make this category here, the second one, hand holding, but I decided against it. Mostly because there's no default hand holding emoji. That didn't look odd. Hey, look. If me reading it up to spice level, that's a separate chart. Okay, invitation done. Next is Tangle. Hey, that's why it's winky. That's why it's winky face. Tangle. Now, I'm going to preface this with, I felt there was some tonal whiplash in some of these scenes, and maybe seeing these quotes side by side really does it for me. Not that way, get your head out of the gutter chat. But I'm just amused. It gave me a light chuckle as I was reading it. At home, safely at home in the privacy of my couch. Tangle. We're a tangle of tongues and teeth, questing lips and hands as the snow falls around us. And the kiss consumes me the same way the power had before, so thoroughly I can feel it in every cell, in my body. I just like the phrase, a tangle of tongue and teeth. Big fan. That's a good phrasing. That's a winky face. That's a winky face. But good turn of phrase. I appreciate a good turn of phrase. Diction is important in life. See, this quote reading is easy, I say, when we're not even past winky face. Ooh, okay. Another short one. Hey. He's a dragon in the sack. Longing. And I realize for all the quotes I have taken out, I've inadvertently chosen quotes that don't have the character's name for the most part. Mostly because the passages with characters' names are a little too explicit for some of us. Not gonna name names. Gives the spice. Hey, we're working to the spice. Let's see. Spice is coming. This is in chronological order. This spice is going to ramp up fast, Miss Grizzly. You just wait. It's called getting engagement. Longing. There's pure longing in his eyes as he scans the length of my body, from my bare toes to the hemline that skirts my thighs, over my breasts, my neck, finally reaching my eyes. A little bit, not bad. Oh, it does mention breasts. It mentions breasts. We're putting out a winky face. That's a tough one. Okay, that was my taste. That was a trial balloon of how am I going to do on these later chapters. All right, we're gonna work through some of these. Now that I'm reading it, I'm feeling more comfortable. We can go some of these milder ones a little bit faster. I will say, 2 weeks ago, maybe a week and a half ago, when I started reading the book, and I had this idea for the stream, I'm like, this is gonna go great. It's gonna be easy. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a delight. Then yesterday, when I was starting to prep, I was like, my God, what have I signed myself up for? So, only blush you a little bit. Hey, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're on. This is quote 8 of 23. We have a lot of Scovilles to go here. Okay. Combination. The things I think about doing to him when he looks at me like that would surely ruin me. And tonight, I'm not sure I care. That's a dangerous combination. In context, a little spicy. Out of context, not very spicy. Let's move down. Let's get these faster. Okay, a little bit. We're getting there a little bit. Drink some water. Hydrate. It's gonna. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Control. The unmistakable flare of jealousy narrows his eyes for a heartbeat before his hips. Oh, 1 second. Gotta restart that one. I misread that pronoun. The unmistakable flare of jealousy narrows his eyes for a heartbeat before his hips pin mine to the door, and my instant relief at his answer is replaced by a jolt of pure lust. I can see that the infamous control of his hovering on the edge, balancing precariously on the point of a knife. All he needs is one little push, and I'm about to shamelessly shove. I'll put that up a little bit. We're getting there. We're getting there. A little spicy, pinned to a door. A little spicy, a little bit of spice there. Okay, we're now at breath. We're at breath. How are we feeling? Feeling good. Hydrate. Drink this IPA before we get to the. Oh, it's coming up. Okay. I'm sure it's like a teleprompter where I can see what my current quote is and I can see what's coming up. Whew. Breath. Every touch of his mouth to my heated skin is flame to kindling, and I suck in a sharp breath when he lingers on a sensitive spot, taking his time. But then he stills again, his breath hot and wet against the side of my neck. Ooh, getting there. We're getting there, Kit Chat. Ooh, ooh. What sensitive spot were you all thinking about? It's lewd. It's lewd people. They're just making out. That's it. Ooh, that's a spelling error. Friction. Cause one friction. Hot and wet. I'm not sure I corrected the misspelling in my textbook. Okay, friction. Ooh. He captures my mouth with his again in a hungry assault, his tongue sliding against mine as his fingers stroke me through the fabric, expertly using it for friction. I try to rock my hips against his hand for more, but my feet dangle off the desk, robbing me of leverage. I can only have what he decides to give. What's going up here? We're getting there. We're getting, ooh. That one, ooh, a little spicier. We're getting some heat on that one. Getting some heat. Oh, ooh. That's not even spicy pepper. Also, quick side note. I'm pretty sure this is how you spell combust. I'm not sure why I'm being told this is not how you spell combust, and I'm a little bit miffed about it. I told you, this book went from like, we're say-so, we're clean, we're wholesome, to maybe like, oh, we had some hand-holding. We kissed a little bit. It's like bam. This is a logarithmic scale here on this spice level. I just read this one. Make my face when I drink something. Hey, I'm not putting any of that on screen. Oh, that's quoting it. Let's try while it was here. Combust. More. It's all I'm capable of saying, demanding, as my skin flushes and my pulse skyrockets. I'm going to combust, to burst into flames, and all I can do is whimper against his mouth as he slides one finger inside me. My muscles clench around him, and he works in a second. That's a tough one. That's tough. We're gonna put it here. See if I'm not sure what we got at the top here. I am being gaslit by spell check. A lot of fire analogies. I would like to remind the audience the book's about dragons. And what do dragons do? They breathe fire. A lot of fire. A lot of combusting. A lot of... Well, once we get to the dragon action in book 2, apparently, we'll get probably more of that. Ooh. Ooh. So because these are chronological order, what's going to happen is that the quotes all come from similar scenes. And yet... hey, they're not monsters, they're dragons, okay? They're part of society. Maybe not in a best-selling published book. We'll have to go to AO3 to get those quote contents. Which is, if this stream is successful, that's what we're going to evolve into. We're going to stop streaming games. I'm going to read romance novels and AO3 posts and share spicy quotes on stream until we go into a deep content of degeneracy. Hey, we don't know yet. All I'm going to say is why not both? These are not humanoid dragons. No. These are full-size, full-scale dragons. You can get away with a lot of self-publishing. The question is, can I get a way of saying these things on Twitch and YouTube without getting some sort of terrible terms of service violation? It's probably fine. Rebecca Yaros, if you're reading this and you want to give me a copyright strike, I say just please bear with me. What size dragon? Read and find out. They're the right size where it matters. I think that's what's important. Okay. We got Sparks here. Sparks. Gosh, am I ready for this quote? He swallows my cry as my back bows. The first wave of my orgasm washing over me, releasing that tight coil of tension in a burst of sparks at the edge of my vision, breaking me into a million scattered stars. I'll put it barely qualifying. Barely qualifying for spice there. Just for some of the word diction choice. You know what? No, I'm downgrading that. That's putting your face in your hands as you're trying to read this book on a bus. That's where this one lands. The top tier is reserved. This tier up here is just like, you have to put the book down and stop reading. That's what that top tier is for. And by you, I mean me, of course. Oh, didn't get the full quote. All right, next one is called Armoire, which again, spell check. This is how you spell Armoire. Nice try. Spell check hates French words. I'll say we're doing pretty good. We're at halfway. We're at halfway on this. This is going a lot easier than I expected. Easy for me. I'm not sure that you're doing the audience. Okay. Whew. Oh no. Okay. Oh no. Armoire. His biceps flex as he lifts me by the backs of my thighs, and I wrap my arms around his neck and my legs around his waist. My dressing gown caught between us as he pivots. Our mouths meet in a ravenous kiss as my back hits the armoire, but I barely blink, too consumed with the stroke of his tongue, the feel of him between my thighs. Flushy face. That's a flushy face. Quote on its own, flushy face. It's good. It's a good level of Scoville spice. A good spicy quote. I think that's probably like the max I would have encountered previously. And I would be very much just like, woof. Super flushy there. If you're coming to the stream from AO3, you are in good company. And this is where we learn. The reason I'm down here, I've never actually read anything on AO3 before. I've not actually Okay, I've read the AO3 leaderboard rankings, but not anything of too detailed. So if you're an AO3 veteran, the content may be fine. It's the having someone read it at you that might be adding a little bit extra spice to it. All right, this one's called Spiral. Okay, I guess it's fine. He drags one of my nightgown straps off my shoulder, and the cool night air kisses the hardened peaks of my nipples in a heartbeat before his hot mouth covers it. The sensation spiral, spinning and coiling, forming a tight knot of pleasure so deep within me, the tension is sublimely unbearable. You know what? They mentioned nipples. We're gonna put it up here. A little bit lewd. Oh man. So you gotta go straight to the deep end of reading these quotes out loud in front of in public. This one's called Fire. This one's called Fire. See, little fire theme there. Oh boy. Whew. Fire. You know, let me hydrate here. Say I put, and also I like to mind if you have a favorite quote from Fourth Wing that I does not get read here, and you want me to read it, let me know. You can just make sure to tell me how you're telling me, or just probably auto modded. Or if you, the other idea I had for this stream, which I'd be entertained by, is do about 2/3 of these as quotes from the book and 1/3 from Fourth Wing fanfics, and have the audience guess which one was fanfic and which one was original. That's for it. It's a few steps down the line for spicy quote reading live streams. All right, Fire. This man kisses with his whole body, rolling his hips in time with the thrust of his tongue, bracing just enough of his weight so I can breathe while stroking his chest over my hypersensitive nipples. He keeps me on the same edge he's riding, and I don't know how much longer I can take it before I set this entire room on fire. I'm gonna put it here. Kissing with the whole body by itself down here. But you know what? We're gonna go here with this one. We're gonna do that one. What? Can things get burned down? What is it? Northanger Abbey? Jane Eyre? What's the one where the lady said accidentally her room catches on fire and people were like, "Oh, why did the room catch on fire?" It's like, it's a metaphor, everybody. Fire. I think that was Jane Eyre. I'm pretty sure. Shutters. Okay, I have to pre-read these so I know what the pacing is, and also prepare myself mentally and psychologically for these. I rock my hips up to meet his, sweat beading on our skin as I watch him unravel with rapt fascination. I love his loss of control just as much as I fear my own, and when I swirl my hips, he groans, arching his neck as he thrusts once, twice. On the third, he shouts, then shudders within me. I'm putting that one up there. I'm putting that one extra spicy. Both on its own and in context of where it lands in the chapter. Yeah, I'm fine. I'll put that. We need some more items up here. We can always rearrange once we get the full gamut. We see the full population of spicy quotes here. Sounds. Oh shit! This one's in Xaden. Oh, make the in Xaden's voice. Let's be honest with myself. We all know who it is. Like chapter 2, you know who the lover's going to be. Maybe in chapter 1. I gotta drink some water to lower my voice here. What is Xaden's voice? And I'll just pretend that I'm not remembering the feel of your soft thighs around my hips, or those breathy little sounds you make right before you come. His teeth rake over his lower lip, and it takes all my willpower not to suck that lip into my mouth. Cover our hands. We're covering our face with this one. We're going to cover the face. We only have 5 left. Did I cut out and not do the super? Oh, nope. I didn't cut them out. They're here at the end. Deep. He crushes his mouth to mine and pulls me fully into his lap, so I'm straddling him. He kisses me so deep that I lose control. I lose myself in it, in him. There are no words as he takes off my sash, my top, and unbuttons my skirt, all without breaking the kiss. That was... You know what? No, there's straddling. There's some straddling going on. We're going to put that there. Straddling is an act if you're caught in it and say, like, as a youth, flushy face. Hands down, flushy face. Here we go. Drink some more of this. Or fortified. Nowhere else. He lifts my thighs up onto his shoulders and settles in like he has nowhere else to be tonight. Then he absolutely devours me with tongue and teeth. Pleasure, hot and insistent, spirals in my stomach, and I'm lost in sensation. My hips rising and falling as I chase the high he drives me towards with every expert stab of his tongue. That's going to the top there. It's going to top there. Dude does have good spatial awareness. You give him like... Getting to the spicy end here. We have 3 more. Here. We have... I'll put them on here. We have peak, hilt, and wing beats. Peak, hilt, and wing beats. It was a type of kiss. It was a type of kiss, you could say. Peak. I gasp when he sucks the peak of my breast into his mouth, his tongue lashing and stroking my nipple as he works the other between thumb and forefinger, setting a whole new fire within me built on the embers of the first. We're going to peek here. I'm going to say in retrospect, I probably could have done something a little... Oh. There are parts of this book that were way... in between some of these quotes are some very explicit quotes that I chose not to include for my own personal sanity. Mental damage I'll take otherwise. Hilt, last 2. Eyes locked with mine, he pushes into me with one long roll of his hips, consuming every inch and then taking another until he's seated to the hilt. The pressure, the stretch, the fit of him is beyond words. I'm going to put that one up here. I'm just going to put that one up there. When you're seated to the hilt, we're putting it at the top of that spice chart. Hey. I realized as I was getting these quotes together that I never actually I'm going to assume all of these characters are adults. And they're all, let's say, over 21. And we're going to go with there and not worry about that. Because that would start getting troublesome if we worry about it too deeply. Last one. It's kind of a closing one. It's not going to be too much. Wing beats. My entire body flares to life, then starts to simmer when he kisses a path down my throat. He palms my waist, pulling my curves flush with his hard angles. And I'm nothing but heat and need. My heart pounds so hard. It sounds like wing beats in my ears. Gods, I'll never get enough of this. Flushy. We'll put flushy there. And that's our last one. That is the last spicy quote in this spicy quote reading. We almost got like a normal distribution. Pretty good. Pretty pleased with that. there, if it wasn't for the some of the word choices, I could have done some more quotes in there. Or alternatively, if I had like a censor button for myself, could have done it. There we go. That was reading and rating spicy quotes from the fantasy romance novel. I'm not sure if I should call it fantasy romance or just is that belittling if I just call it fantasy novel. The fantasy novel Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. If people enjoyed it, do let me know, and I can do a similar quote reading tier list for Iron Wing, Iron Oath, whatever the next one is. The next one is I have from the library. It's on my Kindle. But we made it through. If there's any additional quotes that people want me to read, send them my way. Either, and just let me know how you sent them so I can go check them right now. I have heard the next book gets spicier, and I am just going to assume. I've not read the book yet. I've not touched this book. I've not opened it. I'm going to make my predictions right here live on stream. First book was Enemies to Lovers. This next book is probably going to be, I'm going to say new enemy to lovers, and then maybe back to the previous enemy to lover. Maybe two enemies to lovers at the same time. You never know. I know we're gonna make out with that dragon. I know I can handle book 2. The reason I wanted to I was put off starting to read book 2 is I wanted to see how the stream went and to know whether or not I'd want to do something similar if I was going to do something similar for the next book. I need to know when I start so I can make the quotes. I will say I was delightfully surprised how easy it was to highlight quotes and then get them off my Kindle as a plain text document. It was shocking. It was deeply shocking. I somehow have gotten used to our modern tech landscape where nothing is compatible and everything is misery. Combustion armor. Look at these misspellings. Tragedy. Just tragedy misspellings. Maybe next book I'll feel validated, upgrade myself up here. Probably not though. We're gonna stay down here. Actually, I take that back. I was going to say my limitations on I can't monetize any of my gaming related streams, but I could actually monetize spicy quote reading streams because they are not conflict of interest. So I could do spicy quote readings and get sponsored by Kindle Unlimited and the spicy reading there. The real evolution, as it keeps going, is expand into to spicy book readings of other books, AO3, Chuck Tingle novels, really cover the whole gamut. Make this this is my specialization. This is my niche. This is where I grow. Forget video games. No, that's been done. Let's have a Say So Foxboy read spicy quotes and rate them, and watch his slow descent into degeneracy. Oop, don't scroll there. But yeah, book 2. I think book 2 will be fine. It does help that I'm reading this in the privacy of my own home. In the past, I mostly read my books on the bus or shuttle, and this is not the kind of thing I could read on the bus or the shuttle. Because I'd be like, what if someone knows I'm reading this? And I'm like, I'm on a Kindle. No one's going to know. No one's going to know, right? But it's fine. It's fine. It's there. No, I'm not going to give up playing games on stream. I'm not going to give up on Dyson Sphere. I'm not going to give up on any of those. Mostly because, as I've learned streaming this past 8 months, I enjoy playing games and talking to somebody as I'm playing games. And it's just something that's just true about myself. And I found myself when I was playing Satisfactory, a game by myself yesterday, not streaming or anything. I started talking as I was playing. I'm like, wait a second. This microphone isn't live. Oh, they'll read along. I know some people who might be here did audiobooks of Fourth Wing, and I just deeply could not imagine, ironically, doing this as an audiobook, which is, I guess this was the audiobook cliff notes of the spicy scenes of Fourth Wing, brought to you by your local Foxboy. So let's see. That only took 50 minutes. Oh, easy. Let's see. Did I have any? Let me see if I have any others that didn't make the cut. No, I wholesale deleted them. I'm so sorry, chat. Oh, my immortal reading. Dare I look up what this is? Oh, just my background music reset. My immortal. There's an Evanescence song called My Immortal. There's also a wiki listing the chapters. Oh no. Okay, I found the wiki page. Oh, this is where Ebony Darkness Dementia Ravenway comes from. Okay, I know the I'm familiar. Poor. Hey, I'm gonna say there were some parts of the scenes that, as I was reading, I'm like, this beggars suspension of disbelief, and it had to do with endurance. I know. Okay, I know the. I didn't know it was called My Immortal. It was a fanfic. 2006. Oh wow, what a heyday of the internet. God, I guess you can read fanfic. No, fanfic stuff copyright. You can't just like read them wholesale on streams. I'm not going to pivot. I'm going to quit my job, become a full-time streamer, full-time voice actor, and full-time audiobook narrator of solely AO3 and fanfic content. I'm sorry. Dear manager, I'm so sorry. I know we have all these projects and all these things in flight, and I'm going to have all these meetings. But you know what? I found my true calling. And it's reading these things up, this sort of content online for my adoring fans. My tens of fans. There's dozens of us. Time for a comeback. Just circle back. Well, I mean, it came out 2006. So like, even with an 18 plus audience, you're going to have some people who were born when it came out. And they'll never have heard of it because they were babies. They were literal babies when it came out. And now they're old enough. To learn about it for the first time. Hey, it's a career. It's a job. Now, you could say, sure, you can make that career pivot. Can you support yourself on that career pivot? No. But the idea is to become a house fox, be taken care of, and then become the Podfix right reader. Oh, I mean, these books did have a lot of oral history in them. God, retelling the story. Like, I'm going to retell the deep lore, the deep fanfic lore, and reread it on stream. Exactly. You get where I was going with that. God, what a good name, Ebony Darkness Dementia Ravenway. Like, I'll be honest, I feel like we've all made a Dungeons and Dragons character along these lines before. Whether we want to admit it or not in public, we've all had our Ebony Darknesses. We all had our violets. That was one mildly interesting thing, was kind of like trying to see how much the main character in Fourth Wing is supposed to be self-insertable and how much she's supposed to be her own standalone character. That's always when I start reading some things, I'm like, is this character supposed to be generic and we're supposed to be like, that's me? I know a lot of like light novels are guilty of this. I know other types of books, but you know, it seemed fine, but a bit insert. I will say, there's no self-inserting going on in this book. Let me see. What other notes? Choose your own adventure fanfic. I mean, isn't that just a visual novel? At that point, we're just talking about visual novels, which are apparently pretty easy to make. There's a Ren'Py. Rank that, get that set up, make your own visual novel. The hard part is having looked into what it takes to make visual novels. I will say, the hard part is, for me at least, the artwork is the hard part for visual novels, followed up by the writing. I mean, those are the two big things, aren't they? Skip to page 113. Skip to page. I guess that's a good. I think if I wasn't gathering quotes for the stream, I probably would have just skimmed some of these scenes, if not all these scenes. For me at least, for this little fox boy, I'm not sure how much they added to the story, and how much they added to the character development as much as they could have. And I'm not sure if that is just endemic to the type of content or if that is particular to this book, because I'm not super deeply well read in the genre to make that sort of call. I just noticed, like, as I was feeling like the second or third scene, I think I was like, this feels starting to feel a little bit samey, a little bit similar. I'm not sure it's adding anything, and there was a lot of tongue thrusting. There was a lot more tongue thrusting than I expected. Like, I'm not saying there's not no downside to the author. I couldn't do any better, right? Like, I look at my journaling and my writing, and I'm like, my God, I'm using the same words over and over again. I'm using the same sentence structure over and over again. So if I tried to write anything, probably terrible. But I did notice it. It's like that tongue and teeth phrase came up twice in the quotes. There was another one that jumped up. What was the other word? There's another word that jumped up twice. And there's that kind of funny, how do you say? Some authors have disproportionately used certain words and phrases more than other authors. And they can stand out and be like, whoa, why does this weird phrase keep coming up in this book over and over again, Robert Jordan? And then, like, people do text analysis and like, well, he only used it like 7 times, but that is still like 7,000% more than anybody else in living memory, in terms of like tugging your braid, crossing your arms beneath your breasts, boxing your ears. And it's like, oh my God, stop with those phrases. They're like discordant notes in the writing. And I felt some of the tongue thrusting was a bit of discordant note. That could have just been me. Could have been me in my elderly Foxboy years. We were all young at some point. Maybe some people here are still young. Maybe. I'm not sure my demographics are, but hopefully no one here is too young, because of the content. So this was an interesting foray into a subgenre. I think the only other time I tried to venture into like the more fantasy romance type genre was it must have been like 10 years ago. Fact check myself real quick. When it came out, this book came out 2001. Okay, yeah. When did I read it? Kushiel's Dart was one that I saw highly recommended, like in the fantasy subreddit for like, oh, you're interested in romance fantasy, check out Kushiel's Dart. And it was one of the first times that like I started a book, and I hard churned out of that book in like chapter 2, and I think it had what this one didn't, which it had some like, it's like spice erotica was coming from like, not weird, but like just power dynamics between the characters. So it was about like one person having power and control over the other character, and then that kind of lending to like the spice novelty of it. And for me, that's just like, I do not care for that. Like that for me is a hard stop sort of content. And so I just like put it down and I ignored this genre for like 10, 20 years. So this one, I will say, while the scenes were not necessarily, I'm not rapidly out there seeking out more. They did not cause me to churn out of the book. They did not cause me to stop reading. They weren't negative to the story or negative to the content. They were just kind of like I guess you could write this in a book and get published. What a world we live in the year of our Lord, 2023. And not stopping for me the next one. So that's a great sign. But some of the others I've encountered, just like you're reading it and you're just like, this makes me physically uncomfortable. And so you kind of like, that was my prior experience, kind of turned me off for a while. That and let's bring my face in my hands, not because of the content. I did read through the entirety of Sword of Truth. I don't know why I did. I was young. I was naive. Not Sword of Shannara, just to be clear. Sword of Truth. It was before I knew that a person, that it was okay to not finish a book series. Oof. That got weird. That series got weird. And not like necessarily in a good way. It's kind of in a weird way. I do not recommend that. Now, if you're interested in a spicy book, Fourth Wing, you know what? Pretty good. I like the dragon parts. I like the magic school. Good characters developed. They weren't just like static self-inserts for the entirety. The main character wasn't like, oh, I'm always in trouble and in distress. I need to be saved all the time, which can get grating really fast. She is a Mary Sue character. But like, I'm okay with that. I absolutely love the trope in fantasy manga, light novels have this a lot, of like the main character is like secretly super powered in some way, so super overpowered, but they're just trying to like live a normal life. This is still the first one. I didn't need as many as I thought. The main character's trying to like, despite their overwhelming power, just trying to live a normal life, and they keep getting scenarios where they can't live their normal life. It's a trope I secretly love. Which is little different than the Mary Sue of just like, everything's always going to go right for them, and it's always going to work out. I think, oh, you know what? Oh my God. This reminded me of, what's the name of the book? The King Killer Chronicles. This is another book where I was reading it, and Name of the Wind was the first one. And Name of the Wind, reading it long and just like, this is fine as a fantasy book. You have Gary Sue here, perfectly fine, perfectly happy. He's perfect and doing everything great, everything wonderful. This is going to be a quick spoiler warning for those who have not read King Killer Chronicles. I think it's Wiseman's Fear this happens. And Wise Man's Fear is like, I'm going through the forest, and all of a sudden, I got captured by the goddess of love, and I out-sexed her. So now I am in charge. I have like the peak sex powers in the world. And it's just like, it wasn't. It was just bad. Just everything about it. It wasn't. I'm shaking my head. So I guess I've read a lot of like cringeworthy in a lot of ways. He does every woman, and it is, that's fine. You do not need to finish that book. Not all books need to be finished. And since it's been, geez, I just pulled it up. It's been 13 years since the last one. Not to dog on if people like the book, they like the book. I read it, and I read it with a lot of hype, and I think it was just passable. But that one scene, I'm just like, oh God, not great. In comparison, Fourth Wing, great. Now that I'm reflecting on the other type of sex scenes I've read in books, I'm not going to generalize. But one could generalize and say predominantly written by, let's say, men are not enjoyable to read. But Fourth Wing, pretty great. Clan of the Cave Bear. Oh, this is a quick Clan. Oh no. Oh no. I just read that summary for that Clan of the Cave Bear. I know. Here's the summary. The summary is: The Clan of the Cave Bear is a 1980 novel, an epic work of prehistoric fiction by Jean M. Auel about prehistoric times. It is the first book in the Earth's Children book series, which speculates on the possibilities of interaction between Neanderthals and modern Cro-Magnon humans. Oh, I misread that. I thought I was going to read that as being a Highlander situation. Not a Highlander, Outlander situation. Oh, okay. Never mind. This book's fine. For some reason... Oh, you sent... Okay. All right. I got sent a quote here to read. Let me just pull it up. Let's pull this up. Whew, okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, we got requests in here. Let's. We're gonna call this. How's it going? There we go. I got a quote in, a fresh spicy quote here from Fourth Wing. Let me finish this IPA off. I'm not going to do character voices because I don't have the character voices fully developed. When I read books, I think in words. And so when I read books, I just read the words as words. So I don't hear voices in my head for the characters. So I have to consciously come up with character voices. So in that, I'm saying this because this one has dialogue for this quote I'm about to read. Now we're titling Gods. Is everyone ready? Oh gods, which one are you calling out for? He asks against my flesh, because it's just you and me in this room be, and I don't share. You, my fingers tangle in his hair. I'm calling out for you. I appreciate the elevation to deity, but my name will do. I'm gonna go fleshy face. I'm going fleshy face with Gods. I'm not gonna in context, if we're talking about specifically in context, you know what? Given the context of where that is in the book, I'm gonna put it in hide my face and my hands a little bit. Okay, we got that quote read. Assume it really is about not having the voice and just thinking in terms of like words. I think it probably is more of a mix. When I read, it's definitely just words, and that's why I tend to like read in chunks and not word by word at times. Sometimes you miss things that way, but it's fine. It's also why if I'm talking, I can't do anything else. Or if I'm doing something that requires like too much thought, I can't talk. It's like a trade-off. If I start talking, if I'm talking at something that requires my full focus and I know what I'm going to say ahead of time, it's just like I start going and like my brain is 100% set to talking. All the words are going there and I just like black out and I'm done talking. Streaming's fine. Like I could take a moment, I pause, I look at the screen, look at chat, do other things. But like, I distinctly remember this. Like, a little off topic. There's no topics here. It's just me. During my thesis defense, like I practiced my thesis defense like half a dozen times, 10 times maybe, privately in front of other groups, and so I knew what all the words were going to be to say. So I got up there, I had my slides ready. It's like 45 minutes, 50 minutes. I'm not sure how long my thesis defense was. But like I started talking and then it was done. And I don't remember what happened in between. All of a sudden, people were, it was like mild clapping from the 10 people in the audience. I was done. I was passed. I had my degree. But it's definitely a case of sometimes I start talking and people are like, oh, you made a really good point. I'm just like, stunned for a moment of like, yes, I made a really good point, which was, do you want to restate it for me maybe? Because I don't remember. Everyone just stood up and clapped. I mean, it's like 10 people, 10 people in a thesis defense. It was like light applause afterwards, like, you know. I'm sure I might pick that up, like a little bit of applause. Not like standing ovation, like, woo, go Sanish, you finished. It took you 5 years. Thank God you're done. Yeah, pretty much. It's a funny thing I've noticed about myself. And it's like, if I'm like driving in a stressful situation, I have to turn off like music and I can't have people talking because I like need 100% brain power focused on like driving through a stressful situation or a stressful moment. It's kind of a you know, things about yourself. I think I started, it's like thinking about how you think can lead to like some deep existential crisis for people. I think I read about this first in Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman, which is a collection of short stories about Richard Feynman during his time at Los Alamos. And one of them was going around and testing about how people think and doing it via asking people to count numbers out loud and then like look at words on a screen sort of situation and seeing what people could and couldn't do, what combinations worked and didn't work, to see like, do you think in words? Do you think in imagery? Do you think in numbers? Do you think in text, in a voice? What does that inner monologue look to you if you have one? I know it's evolved a lot. And it's like the whole thing, like, can you picture an apple and what does it look like and that sort of stuff. But it's always, I sometimes think about it. Sometimes think about it more often than I think probably one should think about. Like, how do I think and how does that reflect and show up in the actions I take and how I interact with the world? But, you know, that's all to say, I did not have a voice prepared for Violet Rosaden. Sorry, champs. Or there are cases where I do have a voice, but I can't replicate it. Rest in peace, Alex from Dungeons of Hinterberg. I couldn't give you that London accent you deserved. Sometimes practice, and sometimes you have to do that practice off screen to get the voice down, get the accent down. I appreciate you think it's healthy. I tell myself it's healthy. And I'm like, I am a healthy, well-adjusted individual. That's why I'm VTubing. That is a healthy, well-adjusted thing for anybody to do in the world. No other reasons. Let's not think about it or go too deep into it. But yeah, I got my little thing done. Got my template made. I think I can just keep this template. Let me just save this. Save this document. This turned out pretty well. Hopefully this was fairly legible on screen. I was kind of testing with the card sizes. I initially had them as like this big for the card sizes, but then I realized we'd probably get like, I assumed a normal distribution because that's the type of person I am. And so I knew this column is going to be overly full. How tall were you? You were about that tall. Oh, find your phone. Perfect. Oh, here, let me line these up a little bit. It's light skew to fleshy face, towards fleshed hide. So, going forward, I will read the next book. I will save the quotes, and I will 90% chance to do this again. I'm going to say 90% chance because there is 10% chance that book 2 is too spicy. Too spicy. However, this went a lot better than I expected. So that's great. That's wonderful. That's all you really need. I always worry about... I say it because, like, I was trying to type out these nuts type joke in Discord today, and I typed it out, and I was like too embarrassed to send it, and so I had to like retract it. And I'm like, oh no, I'm doing a spicy quote stream later, and I can't type this slightly crude joke out. It's a reflection of myself, so I'm down here. I'm firmly in this corner. I'll never leave it. I would like to highlight it. I'm gonna toot my own horn for a second. I think I did a pretty good job making myself flushed for this thumbnail. Oh, fleshy cheeks. I like to point out, ears also flushed a little bit. It took me a moment or two to get the right tooling in place to get that set up and get the screenshot of myself. Oh, thank you. I think what it is, playing Dungeons of Hinterberg reminded me how much I kind of like voicing characters. It's something I really like doing when I, as a dungeon master in D&D, was voicing the various characters, coming up with like their individual sounds, their thoughts, their manners of speech. And so reading out the quotes and dramatic readings is fun. One thing I thought about doing is kind of noodling in the back of my head was essentially similar to this, but reading favorite poems of different types and doing those sorts of dramatic readings. I've always thought that would be fun to do. Whether there's an audience for it, you know what? The beauty of streaming is that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if there's an audience for it. I can do it anyway. Do it for my own edification. And then in 3 years, I can look back and be like, whew, who chose those poems? This guy chose them. I'm not going to ask that. I've liked these poems for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. They're not going away. So that'll probably be something I want to do eventually once I like get a good collection of them together. I'm not going to like commit to be like, I'm going to read the entirety of The Wasteland on stream. I could. Think about it. Hit that T.S. Eliot fandom, that rabid T.S. Eliot fandom on Twitter. Tap into that market. Read the entirety of birthday of the author. Well. Look who forgot his English lit classes. Me. But it's fun. It's fun to read and do dramatic readings. It's something I discovered about myself. If you asked me in 7th grade how I felt about dramatic readings, I'd be like, these are the worst things in the world. My God, can we stop reading round robin poetry where we each read one line and pass it to the next person, or we all take roles and read through a Shakespeare play in class? It is agonizingly painful. But you know what? I think that actually just might be because not everyone is into it and kind of sucks the life out of it if not everyone's into like reading through a play together. And then the painful part for me, which I think I realized at the time and I realize now that I'm reflecting on it, is when people are reading poetry or Shakespeare, pausing at the line breaks instead of the punctuation. It can be rough. The Hamlet party is going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be a ton of fun because everyone there is going to be into it. We're all going to be into it and want to read the parts and really get into that reading. And so when you're doing it with a bunch of 7th graders and 90% don't want to read it and they're just forced to get that participation credit, that it becomes agonizing. Or round robin poetry reading where people read one printed line and pass the next person. Painful. However, reading through Hamlet with a bunch of friends, that to me, now that I'm a geriatric fox boy, sounds like a great time. Sounds like a great time. We're just going to have to fight in an audition for the roles. Who gets to be Hamlet? Who gets to be Hamlet? That's a real question. We're all going to fight for it. I'm just boldly assuming everyone's going to fight for it. Definitely not because Hamlet's one of my favorite Shakespeare plays. Definitely not for that. But I think Mortal Kombat for the reading parts, maybe. That is tempting. The problem is I'm not good at Mortal Kombat, so I'd want to pick a game I could actually crush everyone at. We could say like, let's say Mario Kart or the original Super Smash Brothers. One of those two. Wipe the floor with everybody. GoldenEye, wipe the floor with everybody. Modern FPS shooter players will come in being like, what is up with these controls? And I'll be like, this is the asylum I was raised in. You wouldn't know. Let me see. I think I covered. I had some notes here written down. Tilt my glasses, my reading glasses here. Yeah, no, that's everything. Throw that notepad aside. Well, actually, don't. I like this notepad. We're not going to throw it aside. We're going to need to set it gently aside. Paper crinkling ASMR. Yes, I think this is a good place probably to wrap up this stream. I've not done many just chatting streams in the past. I've done this one, my model debut, and then I suppose my Japan trip stream are ones that I've done. And I think part of it is on reflecting on the type of content I've made, having a Kit Chat to interact with is, I think, critical for any sort of chatting stream. Otherwise, I'm just chatting into a void. And at that point, I just give into my inner nature and just make a podcast. But I don't want to make a podcast. You know why I don't want to make a podcast or do anything like that? Too much prep work. You have to actually like know what you're talking about. Here, it's just off the cuff. It's all spontaneous. It's all for the best. Well, not for the best. Maximum effort for maximum results for minimum effort. 80-20 it. Oh, God, I know. My problem is like the two people I collab with on stream, Ratchet and Snack, we are always just like a light push from starting a podcast. Like people look at us and be like, you guys have podcasts, don't you? And it's like, we don't have a podcast. We're just here on this golf course together. And okay, maybe we're starting a podcast. Who knows? We have talked about doing a D&D Let's Play on stream. We have mentioned about that. I'm not sure if that's ever going to happen. We've been threatening to start a new D&D campaign for months now. The problem is I'm not sure if anyone in chat has this particular problem. Or maybe those in chat are this problem. Some friends, or summer friends, or their winter friends, wherein your interests and what you do aligns with them only during certain seasons. And for my dear friends, my dear friends, they disappear in the summer. They're going camping, they're going hiking, they're going mountain biking, They're out doing things. They're visiting places, and I'm just like, I just wanna play some video games with my pals. And they're like, oh, we're camping this weekend. I'm just like, I'm perpetually the indoor friend, and I'm okay with that. I've known this. I've accepted this. So I'm ready, and it's not like a bad thing. Like I'm not saying this is like a judgmental thing. Like you shouldn't expect people to be 100% all the time. They know this about themselves. I mentioned it to them. It's perfectly fine. They do try to get me to go outside sometimes, and that's dangerous. Um, but I know that like there's some games and some activities for them that work best in winter, in fall forward, and it's okay. So like D&D is one of those activities. Um, Land parties, civilization type games are that sort of thing. Um, I'm not sure I was going with this, but yeah, bigger friend groups is one answer for it. Accepting it and just being like, hey, we're gonna have different modes of engagement depending on the season. Like two of us have sat there, we've looked out our respective windows and we've been like, it is a rainy day out. Where is Snack? It's raining out. He should be inside. He should be ready to play video games. And then we find like, oh, he was off camping somewhere. It's like, God damn it. We just wanna have some fun, some co-op games together, have some goofs, have a light time. Busy people with their lives, not dedicated to just sitting playing games all day. Could you imagine? Then again, I'm also now doing the same thing. Like, oh, I can't play games. I have to do a stream. But I don't think it's a new phenomenon, but like, I don't know. As I've gotten older, it's easier to see these patterns over time between people and different types of interactions, acknowledge what works, what doesn't work, and accepting it as not a bad thing, like not a fault, or make people feel bad for it. Like, oh, I can't hang out because I have to do this other thing. And it's like, that's fine. You don't need to be like dedicated. I think it's a perhaps it's a growth thing. I'll say it's a growth thing. You should better yourself if you say that. I have no idea how I got here in my talk track, but I'm here now. Fourth wing. Let's go back to fourth wing here. You know what? Let me switch. Let me just switch scenes here. We're gonna have a moment of mixed audio, to which I say, "So sorry." Oh, ha! I caught the audio. Uh-oh, where is the chat? Might need to wait for new messages to show up. I'll come up here to the screen, just because it's a little easier. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna try something. Oh, I made a mistake. I made a terrible mistake. I moved a window, and everything collapsed. There we go. There we go. That's better. I realized I was like looking over to my side this entire time because that's where. So you're there. You're there, chat. You're still there. That's where my chat window is. So I always like look to the left to look at chat, but I just moved my window in front of me, which resized it weird. It's fine. It's fine. Look straight ahead. I didn't mean to kill you. I have gentle, smooth jazz going on in the background. It's funny. I was looking for like background music for this stream, and I use my go-to these days has been a Japanese composer called Zuki Suzuki BGM on YouTube, where they have a bunch of copyright-free kind of lo-fi-esque music that is available on YouTube and also available just to download the files directly. And so that's like all my normal background music comes. But I was going through their catalog and I was listening to like all like the lo-fi, like the chill beats, and I'm like, this is not the right background music. This is not the right music at all for a spicy stream. I need at least 30% saxophone by volume. And then I was going through things and I was like, it just hit me like a bolt of lightning. I'm just like, what am I doing with myself? Smooth jazz exists. And so there we are today. Oh, actually, sorry, I lied. This is calm jazz music. This isn't smooth jazz music. Which is interesting because, like, oh God, I just got a deep flashback. My alarm clock in high school and middle school was like one of those old style 80s AM FM radios. Maybe I should look this up. I'm saying how fast I can find a picture of my old clock radio. Oh, geez. Oh, that's pretty close. Did it have a CD player? Maybe it did have a CD player. But the station that it was set to for the oh my gosh, can I just, let me see if I can drag this in. The oh nope, I can't copy. I can't copy and paste it too easily. Too bad. The station was a smooth jazz, a local smooth jazz station. It was my wake up music for like 7 years there. And I completely forgot about it. But it was kind of like the lo-fi girl of the time. That time being the 20th century. I wonder what happened to that clock radio. Now that I think about it, like the idea of having a clock radio on my bedside with the time in bright red light all the time, I'm like, no, I'm too much of a sensitive sleeper now. It's not going to carry through. We're not going to deal with that anymore. But so I discovered Christopher Columbus says, I discovered smooth jazz. I remembered smooth jazz exists, and that was the genre that I wanted for this stream. So it's pretty pleased to remember that, and then find a couple 1 hour long background music, no copyright, smooth jazz sites. So I definitely don't want to like get a copyright strike for something like music unintentionally, non-maliciously. Because I know it's automated, which is kind of the worrisome part. Oh, almost added that jazz music. Yeah, we're going back over to the right screen. But yeah, I think we're going to wrap things up here. See, any additional quotes get sent my way? No additional quotes got sent. Whew. Whew. Good. So, going forward, I will collect more quotes from the next book in the series. And let's do this again sometime. Once I have those quotes, rebuild these bravery points. If I binge read the book over the weekend, it could just be next Friday. I'll be honest with you all. And when I say if I binge read the book, I'm probably going to binge read the book. It's important to be honest with ourselves and others about our binge reading book habits. I tell myself. So I wanted to say thank you, everybody, for joining me today for reading and rating the spicy quotes from Fourth Wing. Depending what platform you're on. Like, subscribe, follow, comment, retweet. I don't know. Whatever those are. Tell your friends. Send the link of the VOD to everybody. Like, look at this adorable fox boy, and then reading these spicy quotes. Got to build that audience up so I can do this full time. One day, the dream. Quit my corporate job and just read spicy quotes on the internet for money. Open that Only Fox's website that we're all waiting for. So I hope everybody has a great rest of their Friday evening and a great weekend. My next scheduled stream is going to be Dyson Sphere program on 10 a.m. Sunday. It's a mild, mellow stream as I build out that factory forever and ever and ever. So I hope everyone has a good evening, and I'll catch everybody the next time I stream. Bye bye, everybody.